The series begins by showing the headmaster of an academy distributing certificates to students who have passed their exams. When the headmaster calls a student named Fang Tianze, unexpectedly, his personal driver goes on stage to receive the graduation certificate instead. This action seems to anger the other students. As a result, a student named Li Deng decides to teach Tianze a lesson by gathering his friends to confront him. As the fight is about to happen, Tianze's driver asks a student named Shun how to call an ambulance for Tianze. However, Shenhao sarcastically replies that it's Li Deng and his group who will need the ambulance. A few minutes later, Tianze, all by himself, manages to defeat Li Deng's group with a single blow. Tianze even throws money at the group, showing his dominance in the academy. It is revealed that the academy where Tianze and the other students study is not an ordinary academy, but one meant for those with supernatural abilities. The students are ranked according to their zodiac signs and their powers. Moreover, those born under the Leo zodiac are considered the strongest, and Tianze is the only student at the academy born under the Leo zodiac, which sparks jealousy from Li Deng. The scene then shows Tianze's father, named Fang Moyin, gravely ill and visited by his wife, Mulan. At that moment, Mulan had discovered that her husband had an illegitimate son born under the Leo zodiac. Because of this, Mulan asks her husband to reveal the whereabouts of the mistress and her son. Initially, Mo Yin refuses, but his wife reminds him that if his secret gets out, all his wealth will be donated to a foundation. Hearing this, Mo Yin finally reveals the location of the mistress. But instead of helping her, Mulan kills the mistress and claims the premature baby boy, Tianze, who was actually born under the Gemini zodiac, as a baby with the Leo zodiac. Back to the present, the headmaster tells the vice principal that he is tired of rumors about their academy only serving students from wealthy families. Because of this, the vice principal suggests offering scholarships to poor students. To find a student who meets the criteria, the two of them decided to take a walk and stopped at a noodle shop where they met a smart young girl named Jier. At that time, Jier mentioned that she was not attending school because she had to work with her uncle, Jier, to meet their daily needs. The headmaster then offered her a scholarship to the academy, which was initially rejected by Jier. However, when the headmaster showed the academy badge, Jier changed her mind and accepted it. Apparently, Jier revealed that she had a similar badge from a boy who had saved her when she was young. The next day, Jier was seen arriving at the academy and noticed that most rooms had names, except for one room she entered to change clothes. In that room, Jier was shocked to see Tianze, and she screamed, drawing everyone's attention. Outside the room, Tianze tried to explain the misunderstanding, but Jier refused to listen. Shenhao then arrived and explained that the room belonged to Tianze. Additionally, Shenhao also inquired about the car and driver that brought Jier. When Jier responded that she was a scholarship student and didn't have such luxuries, Shenhao immediately mocked her. Later, Jier took the bus where she met another scholarship student named Wan Shi. Feeling she was no longer alone, Jier decided to befriend him. The next day, the headmaster explained to Jier that at the academy, one's birth zodiac determines their power. As a result, the headmaster demonstrated the academy students' supernatural abilities, which left Jier shocked and fainting. When she regained consciousness, Jier met a friendly girl named Xiao Ai beside her. At that time, Xiao Ai introduced Jier to her boyfriend and asked about the power she possessed. Xiao Ai also explained the academy's supernatural hierarchy and warned Jier to be careful around those with the Leo zodiac, known as the strongest zodiac. Xiao Ai then invited Jier to a concert hosted by Li Deng. At the concert, Jier noticed that Li Deng's powers resembled those of the boy who saved her in the past. Because of this, Jier thought that Li Deng was the boy she had been searching for all this time. In the middle of the party, Tianze suddenly arrived and grabbed everyone's attention, further fueling Li Deng's jealousy towards him. As a result, Li Deng tried to provoke him into a fight, while Jier accused Tianze of being a pervert due to the previous incident. Hearing this, other girls gathered to beat up Jier while warning her not to speak ill of Tianze. Quickly, Wan Shi came to Jier's rescue and took her to class, where she was once again bullied by other students because of her altercation with Tianze. With that incident, Jier, who wasn't liked by the other students, chose to sit next to Xiaoai. While chatting, Xiaoai told her about Tianze, who was the most popular guy at school and had a protective girlfriend. Because of that, Xiaoai warned Jier not to antagonize Tianze. However, Jier confessed that she was more interested in Li Deng, which made Xiaoai curious and explained that Li Deng was a troublemaker. Despite this, Jier was determined to be friends with him. During a break, Tianze's girlfriend, Bei Bei, approached Jier in the bathroom and warned her to stay away from Tianze. However, Jier assured her that she was only interested in Li Deng, so Bei Bei told Jier where she could find him. Moments later, Jier approached Li Deng while showing him the badge to help him remember having saved her in the past. Ignoring Jier, Li Deng denied ever saving her. He even broke the badge before leaving Jier in tears. Not long after, Shi arrived and sat next to Jier, offering her candy and advising her to stay away from Li Deng. While Jier was on her way home, Tianze's car sped by and splashed dirty water onto her clothes. Realizing what had happened, Tianze quickly offered Jier money to clean her clothes, but Jier said it was her only uniform, and she had no spare. Without hesitation, Tianze threw his spare uniform to Jier and told her to use it until her uniform was cleaned. The next day, Tianze noticed Jier wearing his uniform. At that moment, Shenhao teased him, asking if he was interested in Jier. However, Tianze denied it, saying Jier wasn't worth his attention, and quickly changed the topic to the upcoming match against Li Deng. On the day of the match, Jier interrupted to meet Li Deng and asked about the badge she had shown him before. Frustrated, Li Deng ordered his team to escort Jier out. Sometime later, the match began, and Li Deng's team was in the lead until Tianze turned the game around and won the match. In the final moments, when Tianze's team was preparing to receive the prize, a cup of chocolate, they were shocked to discover that Jier had already eaten it. Due to her actions, Jier was punished and tasked with cleaning the headmaster's office. At that moment, Tianze recalled the badge that Jier had, so he asked her where she had gotten it. As a result, Jier immediately told the story of a boy who had saved her when she was young and had given her the badge. At one point, Jier became curious about whether Tianze was the boy, but he immediately denied it. Strangely, Jier noticed the same handkerchief she had once given to the boy who saved her. With that as proof, Jier felt sure that Tianze was lying. While Tianze, nervously, claimed that he got the handkerchief from Shenhao. Without them realizing, Bei Bei saw the closeness between Jier and Tianze, which made her jealous. As a result, Bei Bei instructed her friends to keep an eye on Jier. The next day, Jier accidentally bumped into Tianze, who quickly caught her before she fell. One of Bei Bei's friends immediately reported the incident, saying that Jier was trying to get close to Tianze. In reality, Jier was only following Tianze to investigate where he got the handkerchief he had shown her. However, Tianze lied and told Jier that he had returned it to Shenhao. Feeling curious, Jier approached Shenhao, who pretended to admit that he had once saved her. As a result, Jier immediately thanked him and offered to fulfill any request he desired. Happily, Shenhao asked Jier to meet him in his room. That night, Jier quickly realized his bad intentions, so she scolded Shenhao and hurriedly left. While walking, Jier was followed by Bei Bei and her group, who blocked her path because they believed she was getting close to Tianze. Instead of beating up Jier, Bei Bei deliberately damaged a car and blamed her for it. Because of this, Jier became upset and panicked after finding out that the car belonged to the vice principal. Unexpectedly, Shi once again came to Jier's rescue from the situation. As a thank you, Jier treated Shi to pizza and invited him to her uncle's restaurant. When they arrived at the restaurant, it was revealed that Shi knew Jier's uncle, who then told her that Shi was a good person and might have feelings for her. Even so, Jier insisted that they were just close friends. Meanwhile, at Tianze's house, Mulan was seen reminding her son about the upcoming Stars Challenge. Mulan even urged Tianze to win and maintain the Fong family's reputation. At school, Jier accidentally ran into one of Bei Bei's friends, who handed her a form, claiming it was a form for scholarship students. Without any suspicion, Jier quickly signed the form. Not long after, Shi showed up, so Jier told him about the form. However, Shi seemed confused because he didn't know anything about any form. A few minutes later, Jier received a text message informing her that she had officially entered the Stars Challenge. Panicked, Jier asked Shi about the competition, and he explained that it was a superpower test to determine the strongest student in the academy. Jier, who didn't have any powers, wanted to withdraw. However, Shi warned her that doing so would be illegal and could lead to her being expelled from school. As a result, Shi assured her that he would help by also signing up for the competition. Shi then took Jier to the library, where they studied various superpowers, hoping that she might discover her own superpower. Unexpectedly, Tianze grew jealous of Jier, spending more time with Shi. To distract himself from his frustration, Tianze busied himself with exercising, though it didn't help at all. On another occasion, Jier returned Tianze's uniform and asked him to show her his superpower. However, Tianze refused and walked away, leaving Jier behind. At home, Mulan asked Tianze about his progress in preparing for the Stars Challenge, reminding him of the importance of winning as the heir to a prestigious foundation in China. Meanwhile, Jier realized she didn't have any superpowers at all and felt guilty for dragging Shi into the competition. Once again, Jier intended to inform the headmaster about her situation, but Shi stopped her. Instead, Jier tried to cause trouble to get disqualified, but she accidentally caught a thief in the headmaster's office. Because of this, the headmaster believed that Jier had helped capture the thieves. In gratitude, the headmaster told Jier that she would still participate in the competition. Shortly afterward, Jier returned to her uncle's restaurant feeling sad, until Shi asked her how she was doing. Jier admitted that she was worried about causing trouble for Shi in the competition. Even so, Shi assured her that he would always help her. The next day, Jier met Tianze, who urged her to withdraw from the competition to avoid injury. However, Jier insisted on staying, as Shi would protect her. Hearing that, Tianze became jealous and warned Jier to be ready to face him in the competition. Because of that conversation, Jier immediately begged Shi to train her before the competition started. On the day of the competition, Shi took Jier to the competition venue, where students from other academies also participated. At that time, the rules dictated that each student must collect badges from certain zodiac signs. When Tianze found out that he needed to collect Virgo badges, Shunhao suggested that he should take Jier's badge since she was a Virgo. However, Tianze refused to involve Jier. Meanwhile, Shunhao had to collect Leo badges, so Tianze assured him not to worry, adding that there were plenty of Leo students this year. During the competition, a group of students mistakenly thought Tianze was weak and attacked him. As a result, without using his powers, Tianze easily defeated them and took their badges. At the same time, Shi arrived just after the fight, making Tianze suspicious that Shi had orchestrated the attack. However, Jier defended Shi against the accusation. After leaving Tianze, Jier began collecting opponents' badges while hiding with Shunhao for protection. Unfortunately, Shunhao suddenly abandoned her, leaving Jier panicked. On the other hand, Xiaoai and her boyfriend worked together to gather as many badges as possible. At the same time, Li Deng was also progressing well in completing the competition challenges. In short, when Jier was hiding in a room, she was shocked to see Shi gravely injured. However, Jier quickly realized that the Shi in front of her was actually a competitor targeting her. Jier then tied up the fake Shi to a chair and took his badge. After Jier left the room, the students Tianze had previously defeated kidnapped her, planning to use her as bait to trap Tianze. The plan initially went well when Tianze arrived, but with his powers, he easily defeated the group. Tianze then collected their badges and even completed Jier's badge collection. After the first stage of the competition ended, Tianze and Jier advanced to the second round. At that moment, Bei tried to offer Tianze some juice, but he ignored her. On the way home, Jier followed Tianze to thank him for saving her life. However, Tianze claimed he only needed the badges and had accidentally saved her. In the middle of their conversation, a group of strangers attacked them, forcing Zhe to protect Jier until the attackers cursed him with a strange power that twisted his fingers. With no other choice, Zhe and Jier quickly escaped in his car. At that moment, Zhe asked Jier to keep what happened a secret to protect his family's reputation. Back at home, Mulan noticed that Zhe was hiding his hand, so she forced her son to show it. Mulan was shocked to see Zhe's twisted fingers and identified it as a curse from the Snake Gang. Because of that, Mulan ordered Zhe not to leave the house until she found the culprit behind her son's attack. At school, Jier noticed Zhe's absence and asked Shunhao about it. At that moment, Shunhao explained that Zhe had been punished and was not allowed to leave the house, so the only way to meet him was by pretending to be his girlfriend. As a result, Shunhao quickly took Jier shopping for new clothes before taking her to Zhe's house. Upon arriving at Zhe's house, Mulan allowed them to enter, assuming that Jier was Shunhao's girlfriend. When Zhe saw Jier, his heart started to race, and he couldn't help but compliment her beauty. Meanwhile, Mulan appeared displeased with Jier's presence, suspecting that she might be trying to seduce her son. Mulan's assistant then informed her that Jier was the girl who had been with Zhe during the Snake Gang attack, leading the assistant to suspect that the gang was actually targeting Jier instead of Zhe. Sometime later, Mulan told Zhe that she had arranged his marriage with Bei Bei. At that moment, Zhe immediately rejected the idea, but Mulan insisted, saying it was for the security of his position. Later on, during the second stage of the competition, Bei Bei continued to support Zhe, who was soon to be her husband. Seeing their closeness, Jier started to feel jealous and went off to cry alone. Soon after, Wan Shi approached Jier and asked her about her feelings toward Zhe. However, Jier refused to discuss the matter, so Wan Shi tried to comfort her. Unbeknownst to them, Zhe saw the closeness between Jier and Wan Shi, which made him upset. That night, Zhe tried to talk to Jier about his feelings toward Bei Bei, a woman he didn't actually love. Unfortunately, before they could talk, a fire broke out, forcing them both to flee. Meanwhile, the headmaster was shocked to discover that Jier's school file had been stolen. As a result, the headmaster began questioning why anyone would care about a poor girl with no supernatural powers like Jier. However, the vice principal dismissed the theft as a simple mistake. The next day, the headmaster announced the second stage of the competition, where students had to pair up in teams of 2. Because of this, Wan Shi quickly asked Jier to be his partner. At the same time, members of the Snake Gang were seen planning to target Jier in the upcoming competition. Shortly after, during the competition, Jier and Wan Shi were approached by strangers pretending to be competition officials, instructing them to separate for an inspection. Unexpectedly, Wan Shi believed them and left Jier alone. Not long after, Jier encountered 3 men who claimed they were taking her to another inspection point. She was deceived by the attackers, who told her she needed to be tied up as part of the competition. Naively, Jier trusted them. Fortunately, just before the Snake Gang could kidnap her, Zhe arrived and saved Jier. Realizing that his opponents were much stronger, Zhe quickly called for Shunhao. Meanwhile, the headmaster and vice principal is seen visited Ji Shi's restaurant to inform him about Jier's stolen file. As a result, Ji Shi became angry, but the headmaster reassured him that the school would do everything possible to keep Jier safe. At that moment, the headmaster also inquired about Jier's family, where Ji Shi revealed that Jier's mother had passed away during childbirth, causing her father to feel immense guilt and leave. As a result, Ji Shi decided to raise Jier. When the headmaster heard Jier's father's name, he suddenly became uneasy. Coincidentally, the same day was Jier's birthday. The headmaster visited Jier's mother's grave and encountered Jier's father, who was drunk. The headmaster tried to warn the man that Jier was in danger, but he didn't care. Jier's father then revealed a shocking secret, prompting the headmaster to consider testing Jier for possible superpowers. During the conversation, Jier's father also mentioned that Mulan and Zhe were dangerous people. On the other hand, Zhe and Jier were still being chased by the Snake Gang, forcing Zhe to fight the enemies again to protect Jier, who then fell off a cliff. As a result, Tianze grabbed Jier's hand, just like the moment they met as children. It was then that Jier realized that Tianze was the boy who had saved her. Jier urged Tianze to let her go, but he refused. Eventually, Jier injured Tianze's hand with her badge, forcing him to use his secret superpower, reincarnation. Tianze then created a duplicate of himself to save Jier. After the incident, Tianze asked Jier to keep his rare power, which could endanger his life, a secret. While waiting for help, the two of them hid in a safe place to avoid the Snake Gang. Back at school, the headmaster learned that the Snake Gang had disrupted the competition. As a result, the headmaster decided to cancel the event for the first time and ordered all students to search for the missing Tianze and Jier. While resting, a tired Tianze leaned his head on Jier's shoulder. At that moment, Tianze subtly hinted at his feelings for Jier, and just before they were about to kiss, the headmaster found them. Upon returning home, Tianze was scolded by Mulan for spending time with Jier, especially after hearing that her son had protected Jier. Although Mulan didn't know that Tianze had used his hidden power, she still forbade her son from leaving the house. Meanwhile, Wan Shi, who was with Jier, felt frustrated because she was growing closer to Tianze. Eventually, Wan Shi hinted at his feelings for Jier, but he didn't get the right opportunity, which only made him more upset. At school, Jier continued to wait for Tianze, who had been absent for an entire week. When Tianze finally returned to school, he arrived with his bodyguards, who prevented Jier from approaching him. Because of this, Jier asked Shun Hao for help so she could meet Tianze. Shun Hao agreed, but when they arrived at Tianze's house, Mulan's male assistant refused to let Jier in, following Mulan's orders. A little later, Shun Hao and Li Deng visited Tianze. During their conversation, Tianze asked his two friends to help him sneak out of the house to meet Jier. Their plan worked, allowing Tianze to spend the entire day with Jier. Tianze even confessed his love for her, which she immediately accepted, admitting that she felt the same way. When Tianze dropped Jier off at her uncle's restaurant, Mulan was already waiting for her son. Inside the restaurant, Jier saw Wan Shi, who was drunk, and after a brief argument, he left angrily. At that moment, Jier reminded his niece about Wan Shi's feelings for her. Meanwhile, in the car, Mulan scolded Tianze and threatened to ruin Jier's life if he didn't stay away from her. At school, Jier found out about another competition in boxing, with Bei Bei as her opponent. Feeling confident after her training, Jier was optimistic about winning the match. Unfortunately, one punch from Bei Bei knocked Jier out. Feeling embarrassed, Jier quickly left the stage, followed by Tianze, who tried to comfort her and praised her bravery for competing. Tianze then tended to her injuries, making Bei Bei jealous as she realized that Jier had taken both her boyfriend and her friends. As a result, Bei Bei began plotting revenge against Jier. Shortly after, the headmaster announced the final two matches, Wan Shi versus Li Deng, and Tianze versus Bei Bei. Determined to face Tianze directly, Wan Shi fought hard to defeat Li Deng. On the other hand, Bei Bei told Tianze that she would surrender and leave the competition if he confessed his love to her. Unexpectedly, Tianze bluntly told her that he didn't love her at all, leaving Bei Bei humiliated after being publicly rejected by him. As a result, Bei Bei decided to forfeit the boxing competition. Not only that, but Tianze also took Jier out, signaling that he and Bei Bei had officially broken up. At home, Mulan once again warned Tianze to follow her orders. However, Tianze, visibly upset, asked his mother to let him choose the girl he loved. On another occasion, Tianze faced Wan Shi, who accused him of deceiving everyone by pretending to have Leo powers. Wan Shi then used his Leo power to attack Tianze, who ultimately decided to retreat and quickly took medicine to hide his injuries. When Mulan noticed Tianze's wounds, she gave her son a magic pill to help maintain his strength. Meanwhile, Jier reminded Wan Shi not to be too harsh on Tianze during the competition. Frustrated after hearing this, Wan Shi became more determined to defeat Tianze at all costs. On the other hand, Li Deng and Shun Hao noticed Tianze's injuries and suggested that he withdraw from the match, but Tianze refused. Jier also tried to stop him, but Tianze insisted on completing the competition. During the match, Shi relentlessly attacked Tianze with the true power of the Leo zodiac, cornering him and forcing him to admit that he was not a real Leo. Just before Shi could deliver the final blow, Jier shouted, begging Shi not to hurt the man she loved. Hearing this, Shi was heartbroken and left the match, allowing Tianze to claim the title of the strongest student. However, everyone realized that Shi was far stronger than Tianze. After the match, Tianze was taken to the hospital, while Jier worried about Shi, who had disappeared. Not long after, Mulan confronted Jier and warned her to stay away from her son. Refusing to give up, Jier declared that she and Tianze loved each other. Despite this, Mulan insisted that Tianze would marry a wealthy girl, not an ordinary one like her. Soon after, the headmaster, suspicious of Tianze's weakened performance in the match, confronted Mulan to ask why her son appeared so unwell. Nervously, Mulan asked the headmaster to stay out of her son's affairs. This only increased the headmaster's suspicions, so he secretly snuck into Tianze's recovery room to collect a sample of his powers for testing. On the other hand, Shi decided to leave the school until a member of the Snake Gang approached him with a tempting offer. If they succeeded in eliminating Tianze, Shi would become the heir to the Fong family fortune and could marry Jier. Considering the offer, Shi decided to think it over. That night, Shi called Jier with the intention of asking her to leave with him. Unfortunately, before Shi could speak, Jier scolded him for hurting Tianze. During the conversation, Shi questioned his place in Jier's heart. Unexpectedly, Jier firmly told him that Shi was her friend, as she only loved Tianze. The next day, the Fong family heir selection ceremony arrived, which made Mulan excited. At the same time, Bei Bei reminded Tianze that their marriage still had to proceed. Just before the heir selection ceremony began, the headmaster confronted Mulan, having discovered that she had been giving her son medicine to suppress his powers. In response, Mulan warned the headmaster once again not to interfere. As the ceremony began, Tianze searched for Jier, who was nowhere to be seen, until Shi suddenly called him and revealed that he had kidnapped Jier. Without hesitation, Tianze rushed off to save Jier. On his way out, Tianze was attacked by members of the Snake Gang. In his weakened state due to his injuries, Tianze struggled to defend himself. Unexpectedly, the entire event was captured by surveillance cameras, revealing to everyone the weakness of Tianze's powers. Shi then stormed into the hall, displaying the full power of the Leo zodiac. Witnessing this, the Fong family decided to name Shi as the new heir, which angered Mulan. During the event, Shi revealed the shocking truth that he was the biological son of Mulan, while Tianze was the son of her husband's mistress and was born under the Gemini zodiac, not Leo. Hearing this, Mulan was devastated by the revelation. Meanwhile, Tianze finally found and rescued Jier. As they escaped, they encountered Li Deng and Shun Hao, who revealed that Mulan was Shi's biological mother. This meant that Shi was Tianze's half-brother, sharing the same father. As a result, Tianze was shocked and couldn't believe what his friends had just told him. Elsewhere, Shi was officially named the new heir of the Fong family and held a meeting with family members. They informed Shi that Mulan would be punished for deceiving everyone. However, Shi didn't care, as he never considered Mulan his mother. At the same time, Tianze met with the headmaster to announce his decision to leave the school. However, the headmaster advised Tianze to stop taking the medicine that had been suppressing his true powers. After that, Tianze went to Jier's restaurant and asked if he could stay there. Jier agreed, on the condition that Tianze help out with the restaurant work. Shortly afterward, Jier's father arrived at the restaurant, but Jier drove him away. Curious, Jier, who didn't know her father, asked about the man who had just left, leading Jier to reveal that the man was her father. Upon hearing this, Jier went to meet her father, who advised her to end her relationship with Tianze. Disappointed, Jier realized that her father didn't care about her. Later, Jier confronted Jier's father and asked why he had disappeared. In his confession, Jier's father admitted that he had worked for Mulan, who ordered him to kill Tianzi's biological mother and kidnap Tianzi. This left Jier's father consumed by guilt toward Tianzi. Elsewhere, Tianzi confronted Wanshi, angrily accusing him of endangering Jier. Afterward, Wanshi attempted to apologize to Jier, but she treated him coldly. Jier even accused Wanshi of using his newfound wealth and power to manipulate others. Hearing this, Wanshi admitted that he had kidnapped Jier because he wanted her attention. Feeling sorry for him, Jier forgave Wanshi, but she couldn't return his feelings. Some time later, Jier was kidnapped by the Snake Gang because she was a descendant of a powerful woman who controlled snake magic, the strongest power in the Milky Way galaxy. As a result, the Snake Gang planned to awaken that power within Jier. After learning of Jier's kidnapping, Tianzi reluctantly sought help from Mulan and Wanshi. Acting quickly, Wanshi confronted the gang members he had previously worked with and questioned why they had kidnapped Jier. They revealed that their organization needed Jier's immense power. Additionally, they threatened Wanshi, saying they would expose his prior cooperation with them if he interfered. Though confused by the threat, Wanshi ultimately decided to help Jier regardless. After successfully outwitting the Snake Gang and escaping, Jier met with the headmaster to report the kidnapping. The headmaster then told the story of a supernatural princess who married a regular man, and their first child was born with superpowers. Based on this, the headmaster suspected that Jier had inherited the princess's great powers. As Jier left the headmaster's office, Tianzi saw her and, relieved to see her safe, hugged her. However, this sight made Wanshi jealous of their closeness. Meanwhile, the Snake Gang, realizing that Jier had escaped, decided to kidnap several academy students to use as bait. Upon learning this, the headmaster vowed to protect all his students, but was shocked to discover that the vice principal was actually the leader of the Snake Gang. Elsewhere, a gang member approached Wanshi again and offered him a deal to take over the world together. Wanshi immediately refused and fought the Snake Gang. With his power, Wanshi defeated them and then rushed to warn Tianzi about the gang's evil plans. Wanshi also apologized to Tianzi for everything he had done, and the two finally agreed to work together to protect Jier. When the Snake Gang attacked the school, one of Jier's male friends sacrificed his life to protect her. Furious, Tianzi and Wanshi launched an attack on the Snake Gang members. After the battle, the students held a funeral for their fallen friend. After Tianzi explained the situation to the other students, they all agreed to work together for revenge. The students then infiltrated the Snake Gang's hideout to launch a counterattack. After defeating most of the gang members, they encountered a friend who had been brainwashed by the Snake Gang and tried to stop them. Because of this, Tianzi ended up falling into a trap set by the gang. Sometime later, the students found Tianzi's location and discovered a bomb planted in the room. Feeling responsible for the chaos, Wanshi decided to sacrifice himself. Wanshi then grabbed the bomb, flew into space, and detonated it. As a result, Tianzi was devastated, grieving the loss of his brother before they had a chance to make memories together. Jier was also saddened by the loss. Filled with sorrow, Jier unleashed her full power as the princess of the galaxy. In one swift move, Jier obliterated the remaining Snake Gang members and saved her friends. After the battle, Mulan reintroduced Tianzi to the Fong family. Despite not being a Leo, Mulan declared that Tianzi had proven his strength and ability to protect the family legacy. As a result, the Fong family agreed to make Tianzi the new leader of the family. At the end of the series, Tianzi is shown visiting Jier's restaurant, enjoying a peaceful life together over a bowl of noodles. Moral lesson from the story: don't trust random strangers telling you to get tied up, even if they say it's part of a game, unless you're ready for a surprise rescue. And remember, if your crush falls off a cliff, maybe just use your secret power instead of arguing about it.